What? Nobody wanna check that. Nobody wanna check that.
Yo, what's good everyone? This is Between the Lines. We're back again with another chapter review of 1065.
That's right, the 6 Powers of Pain. Nah, I'm playing, man. The 6 Faces of Vegapunk.
Alright, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the chapter, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and let us know what you think of the chapter down below.
And guys, don't forget, share, like, hit the notification button, all of that. Make sure that you get our interactions up. Like we said in the last video, we're trying to make it to 100. Get into it and we can see that this week's cover page is Luffy and Uta flexing their number one position as the highest grossing movie in Japan 2022. Oda even gives us a sick little colour spread of the cast that we can see in the movie and some of our favourites.
But anywho, we start the chapter with everyone's favourite swordsman, Sora and Brook. They're literally just chilling, talking about how the rest of the crew is definitely gonna get caught, because they're essentially rolling with idiots. They make a good point though, since they're essentially on a government island. We see the human slime ball himself, Caribou, out his cage, and by the looks of things, Egghead seems like the island that he's gonna get dropped off at. Sora's acting real cold as he basically tells him to F off, sipping tea.
For real, and Caribou don't look too happy about it as tears start flowing and he starts making empty threats. Back at the research stratum, and the Straw Hats are losing over these escalators. With all the things they've seen and the fact that they're rolling around with an actual cyborg, it's mad to think that this is what does it for them. But we've got Frankie being the top fanboy, as we can see him picking Lilith's brain and soaking up every little detail. This is where Lilith low-key starts getting into some serious business. Frankie asks her, "Hey miss, how are you powering the setup?" And Lilith tells him that you could say it's all run on file. And this is mad suspicious, like why would she answer him like that? Frankie points out how unsustainable this would be, to which she replies they're always looking out for alternative power sources, but what they're really after is something like an eternal flame. This is when she reveals that they plan on creating their very own sun. With everything that's going on, you can kind of see why the world government's onto them and trying to get rid of Vegapunk. Starting to do a little too much right now. With Shaka foreshadowing her death in the last chapter and this reveal of the sun, it's kind of reminding me of the story of Icarus, the man who flew too close to the sun, and I wonder if that's the vibe that Oda's going for.
A lie, a whole ass sun. For what? I don't even know, but she wants one. To each their own though. The chapter continues as we see her walk through a door and the Straw Hats follow her as they are amazed. Usopp finds out that the door turns solid once they pass through, and that's kinda nuts to be honest. Vegapunk's really Vegapunking right now. Once everyone passes through the door, it turns out that Lilith is missing. As they make their way through the corridor, we see a figure in the background. It turns out it's a Seraphim, and not only any Seraphim, it's a Seraphim of Jinbei. The Straw Hats ponder on what or who it is since it resembles Jinbei. They all take a turn guessing. Robin doesn't think it's Jinbei. Also thinks Jinbei had a little hot side fish and got himself a ute. Nami thinks that this could be Jinbei, but he's turned into a child, and Sanji just thinks this is all a coincidence. And maybe this young fisherman just looks like Jinbei, because how could it be possible that he's got wings? Sanji also points out that this Jinbei clone is spooky, as it has an ominous aura about it. Seraphim Jinbei shows us some pure smoke as man gets ready to lap the Straw Hats. I saw pacifists that are meant to be pacifists, and mansions are by the action. I can't lie, it's kinda dirty. And that's when Frankie lets everyone know that this is actually a pacifista. Seraphim Jinbei lights up the room but doesn't actually hit anyone, because these attacks never actually hit anyone important, coming like the stormtroopers from Star Wars. Usopp cries and everyone goes on the offense. But I can't lie though, Nami's looking kinda certain she's able to just tuck and roll into an offensive pose, but obviously she got reservations fighting a child, even though this child is bigger than LeBron James.
This speaks a lot to Nami's character, as she's really developed as the mother figure of the group. Not only does it look like a child, but it looks like Jinbei, a crew member that they've grown fond of, but she does what she needs to do. But what's this? Another plot twist. The Seraphim dives into the ground and starts swimming towards Nami, a move that Frankie's all too familiar with. This is nuts. This now means that Devil Fruit abilities have been added into the mix. And not only that, but this is the perfect ability to give this specific model, considering that he's modelled after a fishman. If we take a look at the stats, these men have now got Lunarian DNA, old Pacifista tech with lasers modelled after Kizaru, the natural abilities of the people they're modelled after, and potentially hand-picked Devil Fruit abilities to complement the individual. Adding all these up and they're looking like a straight problem, dog. Seraphim pops out of the ground, or the water, or whatever you call it, and starts choking out Nami. This way he crossed the line though, he's put his hand on the lady, and you already know that Sanji ain't gonna let that slide. He doesn't care who this thing looks like anymore, and he comes through ready to make some grilled fish. Robin follows up nice and starts getting in them hands.
You're right, Robin comes in real clutch, see what I did there? With a giant fleur, sea serpent, snapdragon, spank. And through all of this, Seraphim Jimbe is looking real annoyed / unbothered. It's like the times when your mum would tell you to say hi to her friend when you're playing Prince of Persia on the Xbox, and now that you paused the game, when you come back to the game, your brother has continued playing it, and because he's bigger than you, there's nothing you can do. Good times. Anyway, Seraphim Jimbe, SJ for short, is about to attack Nico Robin with Fishman Karate, and also decides to make himself useful by shooting SJ with a lethal green star, skull exploding grass. Even though he saves Robin, SJ appears behind Usopp and gets a little close and personal by trying to choke him out. That's when Frankie comes in super hot with a radical beam. We see a robot Stewie Griffin command SJ to stop and dodge, and this is when we get the reveal that this robot is actually Edison, another one of the 6 parts of Vegapunk. He seems quite interested in Frankie. You could almost say impressed. This is when we find out that SJ is actually a kid, and Frankie's radical beam was a sticky one still. This is when we see Lilith watching the scrap on monitors somewhere in the lab.
She's even got the nerve to start complaining about property damage, getting mad over the price of just 1 Seraphim. I guess she really didn't know that the Straw Hats get down like that. In the middle of all of this, football head Punk has a new idea and flies off to work on it, leaving Punk number 4 to input all the battle data that they have now just gathered. We get a little deeper insight as to how the 6 paths of Punk work together. As it looks at Punk number 6, York, is allocated all the fun stuff like eating, going toilet and sleeping, while the rest of them just work round the clock. The data that Pythagoras has pulled suggests not only that the Seraphim are capable of growing, but also that this famous lineage factor is able to store memories as well as natural abilities. And this is something we've already seen with the Mihawk Seraphim, as well as the Jinbei Seraphim, now just showing off some Fishman Karate. Back over to York, and we see that she's about to get in some serious business, getting ready for her 4th snack, dump, nap cycle of the day. The other punks look recharged and ready to keep it pushing, and it's then that we're introduced to number 1, Shaka, who pulls up in the coldest jacket in the Vegapunk collection so far.
Coldest jacket for real, that nigga's got drip, god damn. So he tells the Seraphim to stand down, and this is when we find out that the Straw Hats have been pinned down. But there's no way you can't tell me that Sanji won't moonwalk his way out of this if he needed to. But hey, what do I know? Shaka just explains that they're basically ops and he's gotta stay cautious. This is where Frankie takes the reign again and starts asking questions. Shaka and Frankie have a dialogue. This is where Shaka reveals that Egghead is actually not an island of the future, but an island of the past. Since 900 years ago, there was a certain kingdom whose tech was out of this world. At the same time, Luffy and Co are somewhere in Egghead Island and they stumble across an ancient robot, and this is the real Ayyy giant. This robot is covered by moss and looks like it's been there for ages, like we're talking centuries here. And that got me thinking, this shit's about to get good.
So now that we've looked through the chapter as a whole, it's time to take a look between the lines and delve into the implications of what we've read.
Hey yo, that's facts. That nigga Caribou's out his cage. So what does that mean for us, bro?
This can mean a couple things, you know. As we know so far, Caribou's done a good job of collecting information and it looks like he's ready to sell it to the highest bidder. Now, they've already highlighted that this is a government island, and as well as this is Vegapunk's home island. So you already know he's going to find his way into some valuable information that he has no business knowing. Furthermore, with CP0 pending, we might even see him in a situation where he might have to use his information to bargain his way out of a sticky one.
Sticky one for real, bro. I hear you. We also get mention of green blood, and we get exposed to a chunk of Jinbei's arm. This just illustrates that Seraphim Jinbei, aka SJ, is actually not just a robot, but he's actually a living, breathing thing that can grow. This kind of technology is way advanced from anything we've seen so far, as essentially what Vegapunk's doing is creating life. The added mention of green blood seems a little bit booky to me, but hey, let's find out what's actually happening.
Nah, I hear it, bro. And to be honest, the punks have been moving Buki throughout. If we even look back to when Lilith is mentioning this energy source, it's interesting that it sounds like they're on the lookout for something a little more sustainable, something almost like an eternal flame. So quickly throwing this out there, what if Vegapunk was the one behind the experiments being experimented on the Lunarians as we saw in King's flashback? Because if you think about it, Vegapunk has clearly held on to their biological makeup through what we know to be their lineage factor. But what if the plan was also to harness the flames that this race naturally produced in an effort to create that sustainable energy source? And this is quite interesting as it will bring Vegapunk's morals surrounding his work into question.
But with that being said, If Vegapunk is able to create a sustainable energy source, he could possibly help millions of people in the One Piece world. And as the saying goes, you've got to break a few eggs to make an omelette. I can't lie, talking about Vegapunk though, I'm not really feeling Edison or Pythagoras the sign. Man, I'm kind of corny, kind of cheesy looking. But hey, I guess there's something out there for everyone.
Seeing the six paths interact, we get to see how different their personalities truly are. They seem to be entirely different entities, but able to share biological functions. Not only does this speak to how advanced Vegapunk's technology truly is, but this could also be a sort of physical manifestation of a split personality disorder he may have even developed as a result of working himself so hard due to his ambition.
Hey yo, I didn't even think about that, you know. Looks like Shaq has finished the conversation with Dragon. Looks like it wasn't a heart-to-heart, meaning that whatever Shaq had to say was quick, brief and swift. I just hope that Oda doesn't blue ball us anymore and actually gives us some information about what's going on. We also see some automata, or what we expect to be automata, in the background, slaving away as the Vegapunks are doing their thing. So it looks like, even though Vegapunk has split himself into 6 different people, he still needs all the help he can get. And lastly, that last panel, the Iron Giant himself. From the looks of things, he's received battle damage, meaning that whatever happened 900 years ago, shit was going down.
Hey bro, before we wrap this up here, let me run something by you real quick.
Go on, G.
So Shaka goes that the civilization was around 900 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So then that would mean that this is one of the only clues that we have about the state of the world before the Void Century. Now hearing that this civilization is said to be even more advanced than Egged Island with technology 500 years ahead of its time. What if this means that whatever happened in the Void Century triggered like a major reset? That would mean that the One Piece world we know right now is set in the future, and Vegapunk, rather than being ahead of time, is only playing catch up.
Rah. But what if, yeah, it's actually set in our future, and the One Piece world is just like set thousands of years after the ice caps have melted and all that jazz, you get me?
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, yeah, that's a wrap, folks.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Between the Lines. This has been chapter review 1065, and yeah man, thank you. But like Sue said at the beginning, get us to 100 subscribers by the end of December. We're trying to do our thing, man. Trying to get this bread, you get me?
So yeah, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. And yeah man, help us get to it.
This has been your homie Kwan.
And your boy Zeus.
And we are out.